Dominic Barton is the former Canadian ambassador to China. Mr. Ambassador, welcome. Good to see you. You're a veteran watcher of international diplomacy. Just how significant is this visit?
I think it's very significant. I think it's sort of the, if you will, the beginning of an establishment of a new era in that long relationship. And I think there were some sort of broad framework setting things that were put in place, as well as some specific agreements. So I think this is a big deal.
What do you think the big achievement of the visit was? The big wins, if I can put it like that.
I think it's at two levels. I think the first is that there's this a framework, as I said, an approach of how to be able to work through things, the opportunities in trade and investment, the people-to-people ties that President Xi spoke about, and that Prime Minister Carney also believes in, education, culture, sports, tourism. And I think that sort of establishes the working groups and the sort of the forums to be able to work through opportunities, but also issues. And I think then specifically, secondly, there's progress made on some of the trade tensions that are there. And I think these are first steps, but it's more than what I expected in a first sort of meeting like this. I thought the first part was key, so I think this is very significant.
So progress made. What remains unresolved?
I think that there's more to be done on trade. There's the sort of the countervailing tariffs on each side more broadly, as what it relates to agriculture on the Chinese side, the EVs, areas of investment, how that's going to work through. I think there will always be challenges and issues that come up in any good relationship. So I think being able to have the frameworks and the working groups in place to be able to deal with that will be very good. But you think about this, it was only 7 or 8 months ago, the Prime Minister Carney met with the Premier of China, at the UN, I think it was, and then, the meetings that happened in Seoul. So I think there's real conviction. It is what it feels like to me on both sides to, set up for a new era.
Mr. Carney described this partnership as part of adapting to a new global reality while diversing Canada's trade away from the United States. Where does this sit in that Canadian diversification strategy?
I think it's an important part of it. It's not obviously the only part, but it's a very important part. Prime Minister Carney has set the goal of wanting to double the amount of trade outside the U.S. It doesn't mean reducing trade with the U.S. It's continuing to do that, but to double the trade outside over the next 10 years. That's $300 billion. That's a pretty ambitious target. I think it's a very good target. China is 20% of the global GDP. It's an important market for Canadian products. It's an important source of, high advanced manufacturing and a source of innovation. So I think it has to be a big part of that broader, diversification, or as also the Prime Minister Carney calls it, a resilience notion too. So it's very important.
Mr. Ambassador, I'm grateful to you for your time. Dominic Barton, the former Canadian ambassador to China.